Did you know that words are built and they have a structure? The study of that structure is called morphology. In morphology, we're studying morphemes. Morphemes are just little meaningful words or parts of words. The common ones that we study in school are base words and affixes called prefixes and suffixes. In fact, when we look at the word morphemes, it contains three morphemes. Morph means form, eme means unit, and the S on the end tells us that we have more than one of these meaningful parts. And just like a butterfly can change form when it goes through metamorphosis, words can change form as well. When studying form, it's also important to know a little bit about where the forms came from. That can help with the spelling of these forms. So if you think of this triangle as the English language, the base of our triangle was built from Anglo-Saxon words. These words are typically very common and they're also very old. These are words like red or edge or laugh. In the middle of our triangle, we have words that came from the Latin language, which encompasses Spanish and Italian and French as well. These are words like instruction or furious. These are fancier sounding words that appear frequently in the books we read at school. At the tip of our triangle, we have words that came to us from the Greek layer of our language. These are often found in our math and science textbooks, words like biology or thermometer. And then we have a small percentage of our words that came to us from other languages around the world, such as the word shampoo, which came from India. So when looking at our bases, which are the plain little words in our language that don't have any prefixes or suffixes added to them, some of these bases make sense all on their own. These words are frequently from that Anglo-Saxon layer of our language, words like friend or quick or burn. And since these make sense on their own, we often refer to these as free bases. You could put two of these free base words together and you could create a compound word, like you get when you take the word bird, combine it with bath, you get a new concept, a bird bath. Other base words in our language came from Latin or Greek. These have meanings. They can't be a morpheme if they don't have meaning. But we don't typically use these as free and independent words all on their own. An example of a Latin base would be the letters S-P-E-C-T, which is pronounced spec. It means to see. If you go to a football game, you're a spectator. You're watching or seeing the game. T-R-A-C-T or tract means to pull, like a tractor pulls things. Those are Latin. Geo, which came to us from the Greek layer of our language, means earth. And since these bases need other parts to stand alone, we refer to these as bound bases. The letter or letters that you can attach to the beginning of a base and change its meaning, these are called prefixes, like the in inspect or the sub in subtract. The letter or letters that we attach to the end are called suffixes, like the OR in inspector. So we've changed inspect from a verb into a person by adding that OR. An inspector is a person who looks into things. If we add the ION to subtract, we change that verb into a noun. Subtraction is the result of pulling things away from a group. A derivative is just a fancy name for what we get when we add the prefixes and suffixes to the bases. Inspector is a derivative because it's formed with a prefix and a base and a suffix. Some words may only have a prefix or only have a suffix, but in some combination we get a derivative. So let's look at the base tract. If we added different combinations of prefixes or suffixes, there are many words that we could form just by playing around with these morphemes. We could add the CON and come up with the word contract. We could change the pronunciation and have contract. If a lawyer writes a contract, they're pulling together bits of information to make sense for a client. If I worked for a newspaper and I wrote something that was incorrect, I might have to write a retraction where I pull out things that didn't tell the truth. Knowing about morphemes is very useful when we are reading text. If I came across these sentences in a piece of text, the bluebonnets growing on the hillside were very attractive to the bees. Since Nathan was highly allergic to bee stings, he stayed away from the hill. If I didn't already know what the word attractive meant, I could look into the word and see the morpheme tract is hanging out there in the middle. So I know this word has something to do with pulling. Next, I could look around the word at the context. I know bees like flowers. They fly toward them to get the nectar that they use to make their honey. So I can put the context together with what's right inside the word to help me figure out that if something is attractive, it must mean that we're pulling something towards it. Morphemes are useful. Morphemes can help us figure out how to pronounce and understand vocabulary words that we see all the time in our reading. If you want to check out more useful morphemes that could help you to be a better reader, check out MemBeam, which is a website that has lots of morphemes listed and words that would be derivatives in that family. So happy reading and thanks for watching.